I'm Helen Harrison. I'm the director of the Pollock-Krasner House and Study Center, and I'd like to take you on a tour of our current exhibition, Jackson Pollock, Small Poured Works, 1943 to 1950. This is Jackson Pollock's home. He and Lee Krasner lived here from 1945 until his death on August 11th, 1956, 50 years ago. But this is the first time that we have exhibited a group of his paintings. When Lee Krasner died in 1984, she left the property to become a museum, but not of their art. This is a museum of their lives and of their working environment. But we are now able to include this exhibition on our roster because of the commemoration of this anniversary. So let me show you around and let me explain the exhibition to you. We're starting over here with a very early poured work. It's actually a screen print. And it was made by Pollock in the winter of 1943 as a holiday card. They used to send out the cards as sort of as a New Year gesture rather than a Christmas card because Lee was Jewish and Jackson was not religious. So for them, a holiday card commemorating the New Year was more appropriate. And as you can see in this image, what he's done is pour and drizzle and drape the liquid material onto the screen and then printed it. And this is probably his very first fully poured composition. He was experimenting with the technique in the early 1940s under the influence of surrealism. And in our exhibition catalog, our guest curator, Frances O'Connor, has analyzed the purpose, the impulse behind this technical development, which Pollock was working on and perfecting throughout the early to mid 1940s, and it really reached its apotheosis in around 1947. But in Pollock's case, it was really a question of getting the kind of image he wanted, using whatever technique came to hand, whatever worked for him. And he himself said it, and I'm quoting him now, "It doesn't matter how the paint is put on, as long as something is being said. Technique is just a means of arriving at a statement." So it's the finished product itself, rather than the means to arrive at it, that's important, and that was important to him. But you'll see in the exhibition a variety of different techniques, not only the pouring, but combined with other methods of applying the paint that really gives you a well-rounded picture of the variety and the amazing inventiveness of his imagery. So let's go on into the main room. This is the living dining area of the house. And this is where Jackson and Lee entertained their guests. This is where they had their artwork on exhibit. Of course, now we have just Pollock's work, nothing of Lee's in the house at the moment. But we do have 13 of his paintings from this particular period, 43 to 50. And one of the earliest ones is right in the center of that wall, a beautiful blue and green painting that's called Composition with Pouring 2. Now this picture shows you a combination of techniques where Pollock has evidently painted on a conventional canvas with a brush, and he has brushed in a kind of flowing image underneath and almost a little eye shape down here with some eyelashes. So there are intimations of figures or creatures of some kind. And then on the top, he has overlaid it with this rather beautiful filigree of poured paint. You can see the black enamel and also some off-white, some kind of cream color enamel that he's used to just enhance and enrich the image so that it looks like it's floating. And here he is doing this kind of experimental work in 1943, very early on, and it shows you a kind of transitional quality in his work that he was experimenting with at that time. Then we get a little bit later over here. Oh, by the way, this beautiful blue and green painting was lent to us by the Hirshhorn Museum in Washington, and they've lent 2 pictures to this show. We have a combination of private and museum collections who've been very, very generous with us just for this special occasion. So let's go over and have a look at this one. This is really an amazing painting because, like the little screen print, this is entirely poured. There's no brushwork in this picture at all. And you can see a beautiful layering here where he started out with a kind of Indian red color, and then he has done a white layer and then a black layer over that. And the three layers all kind of meld in together. And the more you look at it, the more it begins to get dimensional. Begins to look like a nest or a web. It's actually called free form, and that's a very good description of it. It was painted in 1946. And this is also a fairly early example of a completely poured composition. Now, maybe I should mention the fact that a lot of people call these drip paintings. And there has been some controversy over whether drip is accurate, whether poured is perhaps a better description. And of course, pouring implies a little more control. Drip sounds a little bit arbitrary, like a dripping faucet, you know, something that you really can't control. But pouring, like you would pour maple syrup over a waffle, you know, you kind of make a design there. And it's a continuous